Hi guys, we're standing in Cologne and today we're going to film one of the most incredible homes I've ever seen. If you love Scandinavian design and mid-century designer icons, you will absolutely love this apartment, so let's dive right in. You're watching Interior Insights, where we explore extraordinary homes that inspire. Now this apartment is the home of a couple who lives here in Cologne. We are right in the center of Cologne in Germany, in the Belgisches Viertel, what is called in German, and this is one of the trendiest and coolest neighborhoods in the entire city. And today we're going to look at this incredible Scandinavian apartment with mid-century furniture. The apartment itself is around 125 square meters, and as we come inside the living room, I'm sure you can already see what a beautiful and historic architectural shell we have. These ceilings are actually over 4 meters high. And what is even crazier is that the couple actually moved in here only 2 months ago. And usually I'm someone who always says that good design takes time. But you can really see that it isn't the case here, because within 2 months they managed to turn this empty shell of an apartment into an incredible home. The living room is one large open space that has both the sofa area as well as the dining area inside. And actually, in this living room, we have one of my favorite sofas of all time, and that is exactly this brown sofa. It is a sofa by a brand called Objekt unserer Tage, which is a really cool brand from Berlin, from Germany. So it's really cool to see it in person. And the sofa is accompanied by a fiberglass sofa table by Artemide. It is white and it has a very low profile. And then what I think is so interesting about this living room is that because the architecture is so historic, the couple still decided to create this very symmetric design, even though it's modern, just to kind of play with this historic architecture. Also, by the way, guys, if you're new to this channel, my name's Jane and I'm an interior designer, and you're watching Interior Insights, where we show you the best homes all around Europe and the world. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. And because 70% of our viewers are actually watching this exact video via TV, if you're watching on TV, you can actually just take out your phone and scan this QR code down here to make it a little bit easier for you to subscribe. Corner behind the sofa, we have an old historic piano standing, and the piano has actually also been styled with these old historic street signs. I think it looks super cool. Comment if you like it or not. And then on the left side of the piano, we have a classic pop of orange, the Nesino lamp. I'm sure all of you guys have seen it before. And also over here we have a Louis Poulsen lamp, also one of my favorite lamps. It is a very classical designer icon. It goes with basically any design. And then here we actually have a candle holder that is a custom co-creation by Gustav Westman and IKEA. Maybe some of you guys have seen it on Instagram. It went super viral a few months ago. I actually also have this one at home, but in blue. It's really cool. IKEA sometimes drops really amazing collections with other designers. We also have actually a really cool designer series. It's called Appartamento. So if you're looking for cool coffee table books, this one is a very cool series I can definitely recommend. Now over here, we have the dining room area. And now let's just quickly take a minute and breathe and take a look at this incredible design. The table and the chairs have actually been really tucked into this perfect little arch of the historic building, and we actually have 3 different windows. I think it looks absolutely beautiful, and turning this exact area into the dining area is absolutely the right decision. Now the table is actually kept in this olive green color, and it is surrounded by a bunch of different chairs. We have Eames chairs, we have a chair by Tonnet, we have a chair by Marcel Breuer. And what I think is so interesting is that all of these shapes have different sizes, but they all have one thing in common, and that is that they're black. And so you just have this real variety within the design while keeping the color palette quite controlled. I think it's a great idea. And then of course for the lampshade, we actually have the classic PH5 lamp by Louis Poulsen, also in black. I've never ever seen it before in black. I think it also just fits this monochrome and kind of restricted color palette that we have. And then over here we have a USM sideboard, but also something I didn't see before is that up here we actually have kind of like a reading pult, or like a place where you can place some books, and it just looks like an incredible composition. And also another personal favorite is this little guy over here. Remember this, we will see more of this within the rest of the home tour. Now, as we come to the bedroom, I have to tell you something. So I was in Japan, and in a small workshop, I came across a really cool joinery technique called kigami. It basically consists of wood cut precisely enough to lock together without requiring a single screw or lock. And FlexiSpot's Kana Bed frame uses exactly that technique. Thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. There's no metal hardware in the frame for assembly, and the joints actually tighten under weight rather than loosening up over time. And that's also what keeps it quiet through the night. The bed is made entirely from upcycled rubber wood, certified by the FSC, so the story behind the material holds up as well as the bed itself does. And because as an interior designer, the details are super important to me, the mattress also perfectly sits recessed into the bed frame so it doesn't move an inch. And underneath the bed we have room to breathe. You can add storage if you like, or just keep it very airy. And the attention to detail is so crazy that even the legs are shaped with care. It's rounded at the edges, so even a midnight trip to the bathroom doesn't end with a bruised toe. Trust me, I've been there. So if you're looking for a bed that is built to last rather than having to be replaced, the Kana Bed frame by FlexiSpot is worth a proper look. And while I'm reading my book, FlexiSpot is actually celebrating their 10-year anniversary, and they have a bunch of incredible discounts, so go check out their website right now. The link's in the description. This room is actually connected to the one behind me, and we have this like gorgeous little open doorway, and then to both sides we have these really cool metallic steel shelves. They're actually from IKEA, but they're super iconic. I absolutely love the design. Hold up, wait, pause. It's time for the color palette analysis of this incredible, colorful yet historic home. So there's a few things why I really love this home, and one of them is the color palette. So this apartment really is a great example on how to create a neutral color palette that still feels playful rather than predictable. So the foundation of this color palette are very warm neutrals. So we have a herringbone oak parquet, we have a piano made from wood, we have all of these like earthy browns that really ground the space and just add this layer of warmth and comfort. And instead of relying on lots of colors, this room actually uses strategic accent colors. So the focal element within this room is this olive green dining table that kind of like grounds the room. And then this green color appears again and again within the houseplants and within different accessories. And then this green appears again and again throughout different houseplants and a few different pieces of decor. And then for the second colorful accent, we have this dusty pink. And that's my personal favorite. Throughout the entire home, we have these like small ingested pops of this dusty pink, and it just weaves itself through the entire home, and that's what makes it so successful. And the pink and the green is what create this very soft complementary color scheme, because pink really is just like an off version off of red, which sits opposite of green on the color wheel. And now of course it's your turn to comment below how you like this muted complementary color palette. I can't wait to find out. And if you also want to improve the color palette of your own home, I've created a completely free guide for you with the 5 most common mistakes that people make when it comes to choosing and using colors for their home. And of course, in the guide, I also show you how to fix it without needing a big budget. They're all like instant tips you can apply immediately. The link's in the description, or you can scan this QR code by taking out your phone, opening the camera app, and pointing it at the QR code. And now let's go into the second room. And now over here, we actually have an office area, and this is quite a large office, but it also doubles as a guest bedroom when the couple has guests staying over. And so tucked into the two opposing sides within the corner, we have a sofa by Funzy that is upholstered in cord. And it is very comfortable, and also what's cool is that you can actually deconstruct the sofa and turn it into an amazing bed. So it is quite comfortable. And then here we have a very low profile sideboard with 2 round mirrors that ingest like a bit of a more rounder geometry. And then we have this round shape repeated again here in the IKEA Warmblix lamp that also is like a designer classic. I'm sure you've seen it in a lot of homes. Also, of course, guys, if you aren't following me on Instagram yet, now is the time to do so, because we post a lot more behind the scenes and more daily interior design tips and tricks there. And then, of course, what is so incredible about this design is that we have this perfect herringbone parquet that has just been completely like refurbished and fixed up, so it looks almost like it was new. And then also all of the molding on the ceiling is also still historical and has been fixed. So it just looks absolutely beautiful. And then we just have this very like Art Deco brass lamp hanging down from the ceiling. And then, of course, we have these two historic doors that you can like open and close depending what you want to do with these two rooms. And to keep the door open, we actually have this really cool like school ball. In Germany, it's called medicine ball. I'm not sure what it's called in English. And that is also because the guy actually is a teacher. So I think it is always really cool if you have some personal references throughout your design. And that goes as well for the two bikes that we have standing here in the corner. And I mean, who says bikes or motorcycles or anything like that can't be a part of your personal design story? I always think it is really cool if you have some more untypical or unusual pieces within your home, just to start a conversation or to make it a bit more personal. And I think one thing that the couple did really well in this home is that they have an incredible selection of designer items, personal items, and decor, but they didn't overdo themselves. And so you really still have this negative space that is necessary for a place to really work. If you just take a look on the sideboard, I think what they did really well is that they didn't overload it with too many different things. And so this is also something I always say, that if you want to like improve your own design at home, take away everything you have from all the surfaces and then really put back only a few of your most personal and intentional pieces. And that way your design will be much more successful. And of course, if you want more interior design tips like this for free every single week, sign up to our newsletter by scanning this QR code below or click the link in the description. And now let me take you to the bedroom, which is my favorite room in the entire apartment, so follow me. Now, through the hallway, we come into the coolest and most unusual room in the entire space, and that is the bedroom. And now this bedroom really is the bedroom of my dreams. Now, the couple did something very unusual here, and that is that they actually dedicated the largest room within the entire apartment to the bedroom, and I think it is very cool and very unique. And so this bedroom really just seems like a primary suite of a hotel room or something. Also, of course, because this room isn't facing the street directly, but it is actually facing the courtyard, it also is much more quiet here. Basically, when you enter the room, you just have this very large bed that is standing in the center and that just kind of greets you. And then as soon as you enter the room, you were just greeted by this very moody atmosphere, and the focal point is this incredible Akari lamp that is very large and that is hanging from the ceiling right in the center of the room, and it just throws this very indirect ambient light, and it just looks super cool. Now, to both sides of the bed, we have two steel bedside tables that are just kind of like frames that seem very weightless, and they are styled with different books and also with two of the smallest version of the Louis Poulsen lamps. And I think that these lamps also give off very beautiful and ambient light, and at the same time, because they come in so many different colors, here one of them is white, the other one is blue, they still ingest these like subtle pops of color within the design. And then what I really like is that we have a bunch of posters standing on the floor, and I think that this also just really grounds this large room. Because the ceilings are so high and we have all of this incredible space, I feel like having a lot of furniture items that sit very low to the floor, they just really create this relaxed and laid back atmosphere. Now let me show you the second star of the show within this room, and that is that over here behind me, we actually have a historic fireplace. Unfortunately, it stopped working around 40 years ago, so you can't use it to heat the room in the winter, but it still is a beautiful piece of architecture within this home. And then on one side of the fireplace, we have a very large wardrobe that is completely white, that kind of like almost disappears into the white walls and into the background. And then on the other side of the fireplace, we have this very cozy little reading area with a Togo sofa, an ottoman, and also a small bedside table. And I think that you can really see here that if you curate these little small corners within your home, it just looks so much more personal and so much more intentional. I think we can really learn a lot from this home. Pause this video right now and comment your favorite room and your favorite designer item. I'm sure there will be many opinions. And I mean, how cool is it to have your own little courtyard terrace right when you wake up and they're like coming out from your bed. So let's go outside, follow me. And now here, you can drink your morning coffee. There also is an incredible coffee machine that I can't wait to show you in a second, and just enjoy the silence of Cologne. And actually what I also really love is that you can actually see the outside of this incredible building. And it is completely covered with these red bricks that look super cool. I know this apartment kind of reminds me of like Brooklyn in New York or Manhattan. I really love it. Now over here we have the bathroom. So let's go check it out. But first, let me show you the kitchen that also is a highlight of this apartment. And now through the hallway, we come into the kitchen, and you can see that here we have yet another Eames chair standing. And this is also great because sometimes you need a bunch of extra chairs if you have guests coming over, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have all your chairs like in the dining room area at once, but really you can like scatter them throughout your apartment, and then when you need them, you just collect all of them, and then you have as many chairs as you need. Over here in the entry area, we have another USM that is also completely clad in white. The top is actually from glass, so that you have this small exhibition of different cool interior designer books. It just adds so much personality. And then over here, we come into the kitchen, but before guys, let me tell you, because you're always asking me about the storage solutions, here we actually have a full-on integrated storage where all of these shoes are hidden or some extra coats are hidden. And now here we come into the kitchen, and the kitchen is one long and narrow space. And we have one long kitchen island that spans from one side all the way to the other side of the room. And right in the center of the kitchen, you can cook. And then opposite, we have the oven, we have the fridge, we have anything we need. And of course, because you guys know how much I love coffee and how much coffee I drink every single day, this of course is the favorite part of the kitchen for me. And that is that we have this incredible La Marzocco standing on top of it. Of course, like the king or queen of all coffee machines. I'm not sure if you know this, but like I also really love to collect different espresso cups or coffee or cappuccino cups from all around the world and from my travels. And so here, this is actually what the couple likes to do as well. And so they have this incredible collection of different cappuccino cups or espresso cups. And I think we can also really learn a lot on how they like curate their pieces, because essentially we have 4 rows of stainless steel shelves, and then on top of them, we always have different materials not placed directly to each other, but we have like the stainless steel cups grouped at the bottom and then again at the top. And then the same goes for all the other colors. And this just results in a very curated and dedicated design. And then of course, we also have these really like fun little sculptures that the couple collected from their travels. Or here on the La Marzocco machine, we actually have a 7-Eleven sign, which I love. If you've ever been to Asia, I'm sure you know. And then over here, we have another small seating area. And this is also something that works really well when you don't have that much space in a certain room, is to go for a round table, because it is just such a space-saving solution. And then we have these 2 colorful chairs placed around them. And something that I've also actually never seen in real life yet, and that is that here, maybe you guys have already seen it, but these flowers are actually Lego flowers. I think it's quite fun. Pause this video and comment below if you like them or not. And of course, I also really love to cook, and so here the couple also has an incredible selection of really cool cookbooks. especially of Ottolenghi. I also have these at home. He's my favorite chef, and I love to try to recreate a lot of his recipes. And now here we come directly into the bathroom that I already teased from the other side. And the bathroom also is one very modern, minimalist space because this apartment was just freshly renovated 2 months ago. The tiles are white. And I have to say, I really love this artwork that is hanging above the toilet, like a bunch of people swimming. It looks really cool. And then here we actually have an amazing selection of different perfumes, but this area also is just like almost gamified in a way with all of these very small, cute little sculptures and guys. I think it's really cool. Comment if you like it or not.